to Typically Unique Walk and Talk Wednesday. My name's Kim, and I do this walk and talk series every Wednesday. And I usually talk about a true crime case. So sometimes take you on different scenery and points of interest. And today I'm just walking locally around my area. If you're new to our channel, we are a discussion podcast. So, my husband and I, Carlos, I'm Kim, he's Carlos, we discuss true crime cases. We have our channel open though. Our tagline is Real Talk. We can discuss anything at any time. And our channel is unique if you're looking for a entertaining, interesting discussion channel that brings different perspectives to topics. That's us. So, my husband and I usually see things through a different lens, and that leads us to interesting conversations. Hi, Skull. How are you today? Good morning. So, as you're joining us, and if you're just finding us, please subscribe if this is something you enjoy. We talk a lot about the Idaho 4 case. I have also been covering and interested in the Delphi case, and one of my best friends has really dug into that. So we've got a couple videos. One video we posted a few days ago, I think Monday night. Today's Wednesday. So, or no, it was Tuesday night. Sorry, yesterday night, last night. Yes. So I can't give away all the details because my two best friends, Lori and Jenny. Lori had her own YouTube channel for a while. She's a huge Prince fan, and after his death, she thought that was suspicious, so she did a really awesome dive into that case and what happened to him, and I was kind of helping her out on her channel and once in a while. And that was before I had my own channel, so that gave me a little bit of experience, but she got into the Delphi case. So we took a little road trip out there Monday. And first of all, being our ages, we don't do that a lot anymore. We used to be free birds when we were younger and taking off and doing crazy stuff all the time. It's really awesome to be older now and still have that connection. And she's like, hey, let's drive to Delphi, Indiana and go check out the crime, check out the scene. And we're like, okay, let's go. So that was really fun. Fun for the trip, not fun for, when you're there in the seriousness of the crime. We're not free birds now. Well, I'm kind of rediscovering that again because a lot of you know that, I recently retired. So, yeah, it's like being back in that when you graduate from high school and, or in college, if, you're not working a whole lot or stuff like that, it's great. You wanted to go on the road trip with us? Oh, you were going to meet up with Twiz? Oh, yeah. See, that's why I said yes. I'm like, yes, I'm tired of, I can always find an excuse to say no to things. That's easy to find a reason not to do something. And I get that. A lot of times I'll be like, oh, do I really want to do that? But uh, Lori asked, and Jenny and I both said yes. And we left Monday at like 5 in the morning. They were laughing at me because I am not a morning person. Girl math, yes, yes. You know what's funny is because they said, we're picking you up at 5 a.m., Kim, and they know I stay up late, like I'm a night owl, compared to them especially. And as I was getting ready to be picked up at 5 in the morning, I'm like, did they really want, like, they probably, I don't know, like told me 5, but they were really wanting to leave at 6 so that they would make sure I was ready early. Like that kind of a thing. But they didn't tell me that. So we drove 5.5 hours. We did it in one day. We drove 5.5 hours there. We got there at like, I think it was around 11. Around 11. We didn't stop one time. We had a full tank of gas. Well, we stopped right before we got on the freeway. We filled up with our McDonald's coffee and breakfast and hit the road and never stopped until we got there. And then we spent 5 hours there, around 5 hours there, and then got in the car and drove back home in the dark. It was that we had fog on the way there, and thank goodness it wasn't like blinding. Like we could see, but it was still weird. And then on the way back, it was just dark. What are you talking about? Don't wake me up at 5 a.m. Unless it's an all-nighter, right? Right? Oh man, that's the way I was in college. It would just get to the point where I'm like, well, I'm just staying up now. I can't do that anymore now, though. So, yeah, so Lori and I recorded Sunday, just kind of doing a recap of the case. So anybody who's not familiar with Abby Williams and Liberty German were two 13, 14-year-old girls from Delphi, Indiana, went out to a trail on a day off from school and lost their lives. And it took 5 years for them to arrest somebody. Richard Allen is the person that got convicted, and there's a big debate on whether they have the right person or not. There's a lot of connections you can make to that case and the Idaho 4 case. The way it was handled, the way the judge made rulings, withheld evidence, lost interviews, all that kind of stuff. So I personally don't think they have the right person. I think there was zero evidence against him. Some people will say they had a bullet, but I think the defense proved that that bullet did not match. He also had like over 60 confessions. I say throw them out. That's one thing that Lori and I don't agree on. If you check out our video from Monday, from yesterday, she thinks the confessions are damning. So he's also going through the appeal process. So we are like in a drought over here. I'm not trying to show their house, but they have a sprinkler watering their lawn. A lot of the states in the Midwest have not been having rain. That's fine with me. I mean, I would like us to still have fruits and vegetables, but I don't need rain. Speaking of weather, When we were out on the trail, we saw a caterpillar. And you know how there's like the myth of if you see one of those, they call them woolly bears, is what we call them, the orange and black fuzzy caterpillars. And do you know about that, Skull? I gotta check something on my phone. My brightness just went down. Let me see if it'll let me do it. Hold on. Come on. There it is. Sorry. Hi, Jeff. I hope you guys could hear me through the whole thing. Sometimes my phone, like the brightness on it goes down, and then I can't see. Hopefully you guys can see me, but I couldn't get to the control to fix it. So anyways, my point about the caterpillars was we're on the trail in Delphi, walking, and this caterpillar crawls by, and usually the myth is the black parts are the bad part of winter. The orange parts are like the mild part of winter, and the whole caterpillar was black, and I was like, "Oh no, Lori! Oh no!" We went to the trail, like the trail, like onto the bridge. Like you can't get to the old part of the bridge, but we went onto the new part. And we went by anybody who was, well, I can't say anybody, but we went to all the major locations. So, different farms nearby. So the Mears farm, the cemetery that's right next to it. Um, there's a neighbor that lived right next to the park. Like, we went to all these places. We have so much good footage. We took a lot of really good video footage, a lot of good photos. So it's taking me a while to like transfer all of that from my phone into my drive so that I can like get it all put together. And then the plan is for Lori to come over. I want to get that done today and then record tomorrow. So part one we released Monday. That was just like what we were going to be doing and a recap of the case. We went out there, we recorded while we were there, and yesterday we did a reaction video. So the three of us, with my pony, I have to pause for a minute. Jeff. No, but Jeff, do you know how hard it is to do a braid with this thing? Like, I can't twist my wrist. I'm having to do everything like not as good as I'm used to doing, but it is what it is. It could be worse. It could be worse. But I was saying yesterday we went out to our covered bridge, and it is the longest covered bridge in the country, and it's beautiful. We set up our recording there, and we just talked about our experience because let me tell you, it was not what I expected. That's all I'm going to say about it right now. You guys will have to tune in for that video when I get it put together. I'm hoping I can get it done to be released tonight. So that's what's going on over here with Delphi. Sir Drums, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Who else do we got in here? Look at the chat real quick. Extra drought. Yeah. Okay. So for today's walk and talk, I have been investigating people who, I really want to focus on people who took a plea deal saying they were guilty, but then were later proven innocent, exonerated after that. That's the main connection I want to make to Brian Kohberger, because of course, even though there's so many questions in the case, you know, You can't argue with somebody who said I did it. I'm gonna hurry up and go by the Amazon delivery person. Oh, oh, that dog's inside. Hopefully, I'm not gonna get attacked by another dog today. I remember if you guys were here for that one. Oh my God, that was crazy. I didn't get attacked, but I got scared. That was for sure. So I was listening to a case today, again from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm from that area, so I found a case. Brian's such a creep. So you agree with my husband, Sir Drums. He has always thought they had the right guy. He has always thought it was Brian. I have always been questioning the case. And I want to make a quick point about that, okay? Because Carlos keeps saying, when am I going to get you, off the questioning or whatever. So I've been thinking about that. If we could get answers. Here's how we could get answers. If they would test the unknown male DNA that was found in the house, in other places, and do the IgG process with those, find out who those belong to, call them in, find out, who they are, and then find out what the connection is. What's their connection with Brian Koberger? And then is it a drug connection? Okay, so then that would start leading you towards the motive for the crime, right? If they're all frat boys, is there a connection with Brian Koberger? That would give us some solid evidence of what the connection is. Is there no connection? Because then, if you have all these other DNA samples at the crime scene and there's no connection to Brian Koberger, then you got to start questioning that. If you can find the connection, then it's going to probably lead to a motive, and then finding out more details, because then you'll start being able to use the video footage to identify those people, right? Instead of saying, oh, it's a white sedan, and we have these names of other people, we're going to be able to maybe connect more specific white sedans to them, or people who are walking at a certain time on different videos. I don't know. I just feel like do that. That's the only way to get true information. Reduce his life sentence to 40 years. So he got 4 life sentences. So altogether it's 160 years. Is that how they're doing it? Oh, my eyes are watering. That's weird. Why are they watering? Like it's pouring out of my eyes. My eyes are like, the sun, where have you been? Which is greater? The reluctance to test those DNA samples you mentioned, or Brian's not wanting to give up names to his accomplices? I personally think he acted alone. Seems like that kind of guy. I think there's evidence, and even the defense has an expert to show what they see in the crime scene, that it was more than one person. I also think they're saying there's evidence of a cleanup. Brian's not talking. I don't like that, but he's not talking. So how else are we going to get the information? And plus, I don't know, if I'm an investigator, I don't just want anybody arrested and convicted. I want the real people arrested and convicted. So let me tell you the story that I found out about today. So this is Cleveland, Ohio, in the early 70s. So right after the whole civil rights blow up in the 60s. So the economy is not great for people. Police corruption is like crazy. They were very specific about the Cleveland Police Department being very corrupt back then. So this is the east side of Cleveland. It's a place you probably wouldn't want to stop at a gas station today, but I actually had somebody I knew that lived on the east side of Cleveland, and I would go to their house in the 90s, and it wasn't that bad. But back then in the 70s, normal neighborhood, families. So they had a neighborhood store, and there's two witnesses in this case. A woman walked into the store, and as she was walking in, she was young. Most of the key players in this, except for the victims, are young kids, 12 years old to like 18, 19 years old. This girl, as she's walking into the store, she notices these two guys outside the store, and she was very like aware of like cat calling and all that stuff. So she was checking them out, right, as she's walking by. So she walks into the store. Those guys never came in that she saw. Then, she did whatever she had to do and left. The crime was in the store. There was a woman clerk, a woman running the cash register, and a guy who was a regular vendor there. Like he was the money order guy. So he was there on a regular schedule all the time. So that looks like a planned thing, because they shot and killed him, and they shot the woman, but she survived. The little girl that was in the store was a witness, and she was saying, hey, I saw these weird guys outside, and they were criminals. They were like known burglars, okay? But there was another witness on a bus, and he was a 12-year-old boy. And he went to the police, and he said he saw who did it. He said he saw the crime, and he named three teenagers, three teenage black boys, and drove the police by their house. So they just arrested them right away. Let me stop real quick and see. I'm going to pause right there. I'll pause at the arrest. Let me see what we're saying. You guys talking about Cobra? Skull, those fixations are no joke, right? I keep saying that if you are on that spectrum and your fixations go to the dark side, you can't talk them out of a fixation of something. They're just laser focused on it. And it's not just for a short period of time. It's all consuming day and night every day. And think about if that fixation goes. So to me, that would be the only thing that makes sense for me with Brian Koberger, is if he had those tendencies to like fixate on things, and it just went to that dark, because he was surrounding himself with, that dark stuff with what he was studying. Okay, so they bust into those three teenagers' houses. I gotta make sure this is still going. It is, as I shove my face in the camera. I'm also going to pause here and ask everybody, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. We are at 917 subscribers, and we are crawling to get 1,000. So that's okay. We're doing it how it comes. So, but we do appreciate that support. Okay, so they arrest these 3 teenage boys. They go to trial. Well, no, before they go to trial, they call in those 2 witnesses. And they have a lineup, of course, that has the 3 boys that they arrested. And the girl, she's going to talk about the 2 guys outside the store. And when she looked at the lineup, those 2 guys were not in the lineup. So she said in this interview that like she could tell the police were kind of done with her, and they were very focused on the other 12-year-old boy who was on the bus. And they like brought him in a room, and they like gave him candy bars and sodas, and were sweetening him up, and basically got him to well, he already identified the 3 boys, so he was able to do that on his own. But I don't know if they wrote the statement for him to sign, but it was very, very coerced. Um, because they interviewed him too. He said that if he didn't do what they were asking him to do, they were going to charge his parents with perjury. And he's like, I was 12. I didn't know what perjury was. So there were threats there. So this kid ends up saying, these are the 3 boys. I saw them do it. They go to court. Now, the defendants, they had alibis. They were not at the scene. They were with other people. And the 3 boys that end up getting convicted, the one that you can find the case with is Ricky Jackson, and then 2 brothers, and their last name was Bridgemont, I think, something like that. But they were 2 brothers. Ronnie and the other one starts with a W. Wilmer, something like that. But they get convicted. They got convicted, and the only evidence nothing of them was at the crime scene. No evidence of guns or bullets or fingerprints or anything on anything at the store. The only thing they got convicted on was an eyewitness. So let me insert right here the video that I'm going to drop tonight about Delphi. We did an experiment out there with eyewitness account. So that's all I'm going to say about it, but it is very interesting what the results we found. So think about it. This is back in 1975, and the only thing they used to convict this kid, or these 3 boys, was an eyewitness account. So these boys go to prison, and they're on death row. They went for the death penalty. While they were in prison, hi, Christy. I'm telling a story about how these 3 boys were convicted on death row for 40 years and then ended up getting exonerated. Right? So, trying to find these cases that we can make similarities and comparisons to with the Brian Kohberger case. So they're on death row. They're like in solitary confinement. But then Ohio, I guess back in 78, the Supreme Court ruled that Ohio's death penalty was like unconstitutional. So we had to get rid of it. So then they got life sentences. And so 2 of them got to go into general population, and one really suffered a lot. It was the oldest boy. The oldest boy suffered a lot more than the other 2. And took him a while to get into general pop. Then they get out on parole, a few at a time. Well, no, let me back up before the parole thing. So the snitch, the informant, the kid that said I'm the eyewitness, he knew he lied, and it ate him up. And he got into drinking and drugs and just trying to numb that pain. And he ended up going to this community center in Cleveland, and there was a pastor that worked there. And so it's not really a church, it's like a place for people to go for help. And he did get help there. He got clean, became very close. He ended up working there, got very close with the pastor there, minister, whatever title he went by. And you fast forward some time, and I think they ran, it was also like a halfway house type place where people could go. And when the first boy gets parole, guess where he ends up? Because he's a man now. I forget how much time they served, maybe 18 years or something like that, I think is what they served before they got parole. And they didn't all get out at the same time. But the first one that got out ends up at that very same community center. And he didn't know who the witness was, but the witness knew him. And I have to give him credit. He like fessed up and told him, and he was very afraid he was going to be mad at him, but he wasn't. They just had open communication. And then the pastor finds out about all of this. Okay, so as these boys, I'm going to call them boys. I see my name tagged. I can't read. Is that Brooke? Hi, Brooke. Nice to see you. As these boys get out on parole, the next one that gets out, he knows I have to get a lawyer. I have to get a lawyer to prove, because they don't just want to get out. They want to get their names cleared, right? They're like, we didn't do this. Also, the court system found out that the first guy that got out on parole went to the place where the witness was, and they removed him from that place. They did not want those two talking. So they removed him from that place. Then the second one gets out. He hires a lawyer. The minister has caught wind of all of this. So I think the lawyer needed information, right? Because you can't rely on just the information that the police have. So he hires an investigative reporter from the Cleveland Scene magazine. And there, believe it or not, it's so funny some of you are from around this area, but if you're not, the Cleveland Scene magazine is like the newspaper. It's like a newspaper, half folded magazine release that they would put out, and that was your go-to for like what bands are playing in downtown, what things to do in downtown. They would do reviews of like different places and stuff like that, and they would have articles. But there have been a couple of really good investigative journalists that have come out of that. James Renner used to work for the Cleveland Scene magazine. Now, he's not the one that did this case, but so this investigator, he didn't get too much information, but what he did do was publish an article about the wrongfulness of the witness and the inconsistencies. And he tried to get the witness to talk. And once he made contact with the witness said, "No, do not use my name. I do not want that. I'm not participating." And then he went underground. Like nobody could find him. And it took them. Now the newspaper article was kind of a dud until took a while. A lady read the article and knew where the witness was, and she persuaded him. Oh no, she told him he's in the hospital. So he's in the hospital because he's still like doing all that bad stuff, right? So he ends up in the hospital. They send the pastor to the hospital, and he talks with him, and he's like, "Look, your health is deteriorating because you're carrying around this guilt. Like, it's time to tell the truth." And by this time, they've got the Innocence Project. And so the guy is like, yeah, you're right. This is like eating me up. It's destroying my health. And once they got the witness to say, I will recant, the Innocence Project got involved. But the Innocence Project would not until um, they had like a solid defense, like the witness. And it had to be that because that was the only evidence they had to arrest these kids. So they were exonerated. And they said at the end of the documentary that they were the longest prison sentence. They said 40 years, but they were older men when they got out, but I don't think they all served 40 years. But they were the longest prison sentence that got exonerated in the United States. So, Brooke, are you thinking of the Amy Mahalovic case? That was an Ohio case. I cannot wait to talk about her. Um, and James Renner was heavily involved with Maura Murray, and she's the girl that was the track runner and went missing mysteriously up in like Vermont, in the Vermont area. James Renner has done some. I love him. He'll do like if he covers a case to like do a podcast just on that case, and he knocks on doors and talks to people and he plays the interviews on his podcast, and he's written a lot of books. And he usually goes to CrimeCon. I want to go to CrimeCon next year if I can. More entertainment than news. Oh, I'm reading the chat. Reading the chat. Reading the chat. All of you guys are all saying hi to each other. Thank you, Christy. Yes, hit the like button, please. Jeff, you forgot my name. It's okay. It happens to me all the time. Oh, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Yep, Kim. You'll hear Lori call me Kimmy. That was my childhood nickname. It is like Comic Con, except I don't know how much there is to purchase there. It's more like listening to people talk. And I know one year they set up like a fake crime scene for people to go in and like work the crime scene. That seems pretty cool. It's a chance to just meet like all your favorite podcasters and YouTubers and whoever else is there. Like Nancy Grace is always there, and usually a lot of families too. Oh, the newspaper. Yes, Kathy. Oh, you remember that. You know what I'm talking about. Yep, more entertainment than news. Yep. Thank you for that. So I just thought that was a crazy example trying to cross the street without getting hit. All right. Oh, let me show you guys this real quick. You can see all the can you see all the orange signs and everything down there? So this road is the main road, one of the main roads that the school buses need to get back to the school. And they are replacing all our fire hydrants all up and down that road. And so they keep moving down, right? Different sections. But it is like whack-a-mole because they can't block off roads when the kids are going to school. So it's usually open like in the morning. And then as soon as the kids are all in school, they start working like crazy. They block off all kinds of roads. And that's why I call it whack-a-mole, because I never know which side street's going to be open and which way do I need to go. And then, like, as soon as it's dismissal time from the schools, they open everything up again and let all the buses out. Like, it's so funny. And I'm like, it's September. Why didn't you do this in June after school was out? Where is what located at? Well, I don't know. I just think that Cleveland case. I love that I keep finding Cleveland cases to talk about. I will link the video so you guys can actually watch it. Did anybody watch the other, my last time that I did a walk and talk? I posted the link. I think I put it in my community post, and I also posted it as a comment on the video, my last walk and talk of the guy who was the confidential informant. You guys go watch it. It's funny. It's funny. Comic-Con moves each year. Yes, yes, yes. So last year it was in Nashville, Tennessee, I believe. This year it was in Denver, Colorado. So I'm hoping they at least come back to the East Coast or Midwest. That would be nice. I mean, I would have loved to gone to Denver, but that's a long hike, long, expensive trip. You know, I could drive to Tennessee. Um, I think it's funny that we drove 5.5 hours to Delphi, Indiana, spent 5 hours there, jumped in the car and drove 5.5 hours. When my friends told me we were going to do that, I'm like, you're crazy. We need to get a hotel. They're more hardcore than I am. What does this say? Oh, you'll make sure to look at my community post. Thank you. So I am loving I watched your reaction to Carlos and our last video. That was funny. I would laugh at us too, and that's why I laugh during our show sometimes. Oh my gosh, we're not laughing at like the cases we discuss. We just laugh at the situations. Sometimes it's what I say or how I say it or something like that. That can be funny. Um, what else was I gonna say? Oh, about CrimeCon. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how soon they will post where the next one will be next year. The patience we have for each other. My brother-in-law, when we first started recording, like it took me, Carlos is like cool, calm, collected, right? I am the emotional one. I'm a Pisces. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I take everything personally. So I'm the one that will get like my feelings hurt. And so when we first started recording, I would have to edit out like big meltdowns I would have. And my brother-in-law would be like, send them to me. He would like make me play them, or he'd be like, post them as like an outtake or something. I'm like, no way, I'm not doing that. You're crazy. We have one YouTube short where this was back when we were telling our story when our son was in the hospital and sick, and I was a raging maniac over the doctors and the nurses just because I was so nervous. I was trying to save his life. And I made a comment in our video, like how I was doing something, like advocating, and I was like, well, I guess you got to kind of do it nicely. And Carlos is like, well, you do it how you do it, baby. And I had to, implying that like I really don't do it nicely, or I wasn't doing it nicely back at that time. Um, but I had to clip that out and show it because it was hilarious to me. CrimeCon is in Vegas. Oh my God, you guys. Casinos and true crime. Let's go. Oh my gosh. See, we're going. We're planning it. Carlos will be so down for that. That is going to be great. Yes. True crime and casino time. Oh, and you have family in Vegas. Good for you. Wouldn't it be so fun if we can all meet up, like have dinner together every night, hang out, like face-to-face discuss things. Oh my God, that would be so fun. So fun. And when you live 5 hours away, oh, you could do it. You can drive there. You would have to fly. Hi, babe. Oh, you're the one that posted it. I couldn't see names. I was in the sunshine. Carlos, what do you think about that if you're still listening? That's going to be my tagline. True crime and casino time. A 35-minute flight. That's cool. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Brooke. Love it. May will be, oh, it'll probably be hot out there. It won't be hot here at our place for CrimeCon. All right, everybody, make your CrimeCon 2026 plans. We're all going to meet in Vegas and start saving your gambling money. I'll teach everybody, I'll say Carlos will teach everybody how to play craps. Don't listen to me. He's the winner, not me. uh, discover the truth of crime while you go bankrupt. Oh, that's funny. Hey, whoever wins buys dinner. Actually, I don't know. In the old days, you didn't have to really pay for dinner out there because they would have like all those free buffets and stuff. But I haven't been out there in so long. Last quick story before I get off. Carlos and I got married in 1997, and we went to Vegas for our honeymoon. And I had never been to Vegas, and I had only flown on a plane like maybe once before. So I was super nervous about flying, super nervous, but I wanted to get out there, right? So we get to the airport for our flight. We're newlyweds. We can't wait to get on our honeymoon, go someplace, And they come out and they say, your flight is delayed because they have to fix a part of the plane. I like burst into tears. Now I'm extremely, like, I was just nervous, right? Now I have a reason to be nervous. I was terrified. And it was like probably like a 4 hour delay. Like, we waited hours in that airport. So it was taking away from our time because we were only going out there for a few days. So I was bummed about the time. I'm bummed about being scared. I'm terrified that they're putting us on a, not working plane. Oh my gosh. Last time you flew was 30 years ago. Are you even that old? You don't look that old to me. Screw being stranded. Well, we were like, we live like an hour from Cleveland, so we were at the Cleveland airport trying to leave. That's what happened. But we waited. We got on. We made it there safe. Carlos can tell you the funny story about how I made him take a city bus in Vegas that he hated. I'll just tell you, I was trying to be cheap while we were out there because we stayed off the main strip. We stayed in the old downtown Vegas part. I keep setting up off my camera. And and we didn't have a vehicle because we flew out there and we didn't rent a vehicle. So I was like, instead of calling a taxi, which would be expensive, 'cause this is before Uber days, right? We're old children. Um, they had a bus that ran. So I'm like, oh, it's like $1. Let's just get on the bus. Okay. Carlos knew it wasn't going to be a good experience, but he did it anyways. He did it for me. And wouldn't you know, it was 95 degrees outside. The bus broke down and we got stranded like behind some building on pavement and had to wait in the scorching heat with it's just all pavement, so it's just extra 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 hot. So those are two of our Vegas stories from our honeymoon. Hey, I went to the casino. What day did we go? Just this past weekend. And I came home with $100 more than I went with. So sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. That helped fund our girls' trip to. Oh, I can tell you guys this too. So when Carlos and I take a trip, our family, our daughter too, Carly, when we take a trip, and this is a good idea for everybody if you're interested. We learned it from someone else. We will buy a Christmas ornament from that place. And if we can't find one, we will find something that has a hook on it or a keychain or something that we can put on our Christmas tree. And those are our ornaments. So every year when we decorate our Christmas tree, we like reminisce about all the places we've been. And so when we were in Indiana, I'm like, I have to get something. So we were at one of those gas stations right outside Delphi that had a little, store area. I got a keychain that had a bullet on it, a fake bullet on it that said Indiana. And my friends were laughing at me because that's the only piece of evidence they were saying that Richard Allen was guilty with. So that was that's gonna be my Christmas ornament. uh, Skull, what are you talking about? I've been to the bars where the girl. Oh, we went to a Coyote Ugly bar one time when we were out in San Antonio. That's where they get up on top. The waitresses get up on top of the counter and dance. I wanted to see that because it was in that movie Coyote Ugly. You want the sheath ornament? Yes, that's got to be it, right? That's got to be it. I'm dead. Yeah, I'm not trying to get anybody into bad habits of gambling. So do not take my advice. Don't listen to what I am saying. You do things at your own risk. Kim did not ask you to do anything. Oh my goodness. Well, this was a good walk. Thank you for hanging out with me and joining me. I told you if you joined late, when I first started, I was talking about our trip out to Delphi. And I also recapped a little bit about our channel. We are definitely looking for more subscribers. Um, really like trying to up my game with posting and um, everything on YouTube. So it'll be worth it, I promise. And then I told that story about how it took 40 years to get three guilty men exonerated in Cleveland, Ohio. So, and then we had some laughs. I love coming on and engaging with you guys. I keep forgetting to click the button down here. All right. All right, you guys have a good rest of your day. And be looking for my Delphi series. Part one's already up. Part two's coming tonight. Part three should be tomorrow night or Thursday. So I also got some Idaho 4 stuff I'm putting together. So I'll be seeing you soon. All right, have a good day, everybody. Bye.